Hi friends, welcome to part 2 of our 2-part series on Where's the Recession? As we examine that it was all short of a guarantee. So economists told us, so pundits told us. And to be fair, there was a tremendous amount of risk in the market. And there still is underlying risks. Whether you look at the ongoing war in Ukraine, you look at the BRICS countries, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, that make up 45% of the world's population and now are a coalition, whether it's Israel and Hamas, whether it's the geopolitical issues in South America or other countries, or whether we just turn and look in the mirror at the United States and the spending and the government nonsense. We've still got risks, but they are markedly different today than they were 10 months ago. And we do have more clarity today than we did 10 months ago. So let's examine on a deeper level how we are now 10 months into what everyone told us would be a recession, and we haven't experienced a recession in the way that we are used to experiencing it as investors. And we unpacked that in our last video. Part 2 here, what we want to look at is the companies and their profits, because at the end of the day, you can do what you want in Washington, you can do what you want globally. The US markets trade off of one simple truth: profits. When you purchase a company in the market, you're purchasing not what they used to do, but what you expect them to do by way of revenue moving forward. And so the market is a best guess, given the economic conditions, the global environment, the geopolitical regulatory landscape. It's the public's best guess at what this company should be worth today, given what we expect it to do for the foreseeable future. That's what a stock price is. Now, we know that ebb and flow happens with emotions and news, but over time, the market will always trade off of profit. So, how's that going? We've looked earlier in the year and in our individual meetings throughout the year that when the government raises rates, if a company's profits stay the same, those profits are worth less, because of inflation and the devaluation of the dollar. So the only way for a company to stay valued as it was when rates go up is for its profits to go up. Well, what we've been experiencing over the last 6, 9, 12, 18 months is interest rates have skyrocketed, profits have either stayed the same or began to fall. But as we mentioned in our last video, because of the outrageous liquidity and printing of money by the federal government. And to put this in context, from 1790 to 2007, it's 42 presidents. George Washington through George Bush, number 2. The cumulative national debt was $7 trillion. We printed and distributed $5 trillion in an 18-month time period around COVID. There is no playbook for this. So many economists and analytical data researchers and portfolio managers are looking at their best guess as to how to quantify what does that do to the dollar, to profits. And then when you have a government that's willing to spend almost $2 trillion extra dollars that it doesn't have in a given budget year, it only doubles down on that. And so those excess dollars in the system have created a cushion, albeit a false cushion. It is a cushion nonetheless for individual, what we'll call micro recessions, sectors experiencing recessionary data and contractionary information and now beginning to recover. And so through October 26, 245 of the 500 companies that make up the S&P 500 have reported their earnings. And what does the data say for Q3 so far? Almost 8 out of 10, 78%, have surprised to the upside, made more money than the street expected. In fact, the consensus year over year was a 1.2% reduction in profits. So far, we're trending at over 2% positive increase in earnings. Those earnings increases are not across the market, but are fueled by a couple of individual sectors that have experienced recession already and are beginning to recover. One of those sectors is technology. Technology got hammered last year. Technology saw large layoffs, saw earnings drops, profits drops, and we're seeing as a whole. Now, many people want to pigeonhole technology into those 7 companies that we've already talked a lot about. Technology is so much deeper and wider and more vast than that. But that's just one of the sectors that we're actually seeing profits grow. And so what does this mean for investors? While there are a number of sectors and the broader economy hasn't experienced a singular recession, it is time, because we've weathered 10 months of some micro recessions and lots of other egg on the face moments. It is time for many investors, not all investors. It has to be aligned with your long-term values and your risk. It is time to begin to take on potentially some more growth-oriented opportunities, because we've already seen those sectors fall and we're seeing them begin to rise. So depending on who you are, depending on where you are, it might just make sense, given what we're calling micro recessions that have happened across several sectors in the market, might make sense to start taking on a little more growth in the portfolio, knowing that it's still going to be a bumpy ride. We're heading into an election year, and more on that to come. But the singular large economic recession risk seems to have passed, at least for the moment, and at least with the federal government committed to printing as much money as possible heading into an election year to keep that from happening. Thanks for watching our 2-part series on Where's the Recession? Gear up, because we're going to talk about the election next. Thanks for watching.